Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jenny English Podcast, where you can improve your English through fun, friendly, and interesting conversations. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Alex. We're really happy you're here today. Whether you're at home, outside, or just scrolling on your phone, thank you for joining us.
Today, we're talking about something every single person does every day: making decisions. Some decisions are tiny, like what to eat for breakfast. Others can completely change our lives, like choosing a job, moving to another city, or deciding whether to say yes to a new opportunity. Have you ever spent 20 minutes deciding what movie to watch and then ended up watching nothing at all? If you have, don't worry. You're definitely not alone. Today, we're going to explore why making decisions can feel so difficult, why our brains sometimes trick us, and how we can become more confident without trying to be perfect. So grab your favorite drink, get comfortable, and let's chat. I have to confess something. Last weekend, I wanted to buy a new water bottle. That's it, a water bottle. I opened an online shopping app, and suddenly there were hundreds of choices. Some bottles kept drinks cold for 12 hours. Others had beautiful colors. Some had little handles. Some had built-in straws. I thought, I'll decide in 5 minutes. 2 hours later, I still hadn't bought anything. In the end, I closed the app and used my old bottle. It was almost funny. Have you ever done something like that? Sometimes having more choices makes us feel less sure instead of more confident.
I think almost everyone has experienced that. We often believe that having many choices is always better, but psychologists have found something interesting. When we have too many options, our brains become tired. Instead of feeling excited, we start comparing every little detail. Then we worry about choosing the wrong one. It's called choice overload. Imagine standing in front of an ice cream shop with only 3 flavors. You'd probably choose quickly. But if there are 100 flavors, suddenly every decision feels important. What if another flavor is better? What if I regret this one? Before you know it, you're stressed about something that should be enjoyable.
That reminds me of being a kid. When my parents took me to buy school supplies, there were maybe 3 notebooks. I'd grab one with a nice cover, and I was happy. Now I walk into a store, and there are shelves full of notebooks in every size, every color, every design. Somehow, it feels harder, even though buying a notebook isn't a life-changing decision.
Exactly. Our brains often confuse more choices with more responsibility. We feel like every decision has to be perfect, even when it doesn't matter very much.
That's so true. I sometimes ask my friends, which color should I buy? Then I ask another friend, then another. By the time everyone gives me advice, I'm even more confused.
We've all been there. Sometimes the search for the perfect choice steals the joy from making any choice at all.
I think one reason I struggle with decisions is because I hate making mistakes, even small ones. If I choose a restaurant and the food isn't good, I somehow feel responsible, like I ruined everyone's evening.
That's a very human feeling. Many people don't fear making decisions. They fear regretting them later. Our brains are surprisingly good at imagining negative futures. We ask ourselves, what if this goes wrong? But we rarely ask, what if this turns out great?
Oh, wow. That's exactly what I do. My brain loves creating little disaster movies. What if I choose the wrong job? What if I move and hate the new city? What if everyone laughs at me? Sometimes nothing has even happened yet, but I've already imagined 10 terrible endings.
That's because our brains evolved to notice danger. Long ago, being careful helped humans survive. Today, we're usually deciding between 2 good opportunities, not running away from wild animals. But our brains still react as if every choice is life or death.
I remember applying for my first job. I rewrote my application again and again. Every sentence had to be perfect. I checked it so many times that I almost missed the deadline. Looking back, I laugh about it because nobody expected perfection, except me.
That's a wonderful example. Sometimes perfection isn't helping us. It slows us down. Successful people don't always make perfect decisions. They simply make thoughtful decisions and then adjust if necessary.
It means one wrong decision doesn't ruin everything.
Exactly. Most decisions aren't final. We can learn, change direction, and grow. Life isn't a single test with only one correct answer.
We usually think about big life decisions, but what about the tiny ones? Like choosing to go for a walk instead of scrolling on our phones for another hour.
Those small decisions are actually incredibly powerful. Researchers often talk about habits because our daily choices slowly shape our future. One healthy meal won't change your life. One workout won't either. But making those choices again and again creates lasting results.
That reminds me of something funny. Earlier this year, I wanted to read more books. On the first day, I thought, I'll read for 2 hours every evening. Well, that lasted exactly 3 days. Then I stopped completely.
Let me guess, it felt too difficult?
Exactly. Later, I changed my goal. I told myself, just read 5 pages. Suddenly, it became easy. Some days, I still only read 5 pages. But many days, I kept reading because I was already enjoying the story.
That's a great example of how small decisions build momentum. Starting is often the hardest part. Once we're moving, continuing feels much easier.
Have you noticed that with exercise too? Sometimes I don't want to exercise at all. But if I simply put on my shoes and step outside, half the battle is already won.
Absolutely. Our brains often resist beginning something unfamiliar, but once we start, the resistance fades. It's like pushing a bicycle uphill. The first few moments are difficult, but after that, the ride becomes smoother.
So maybe success isn't about making one huge, perfect decision. Maybe it's about making lots of small, good decisions every day.
I think that's one of the biggest secrets to personal growth.
Here's another problem I have. Sometimes I ask too many people for advice. One person says, follow your dreams. Another says, be practical. Someone else says, take risks. After hearing 5 opinions, I don't even know what I think anymore.
Advice can be helpful, but too much advice can become noise. Every person speaks from their own experiences. Someone who loves adventure will encourage risky decisions. Someone who values stability may suggest the opposite.
My grandmother always says, sleep on it. My best friend says, just do it. Those are completely different strategies.
And both can be useful depending on the situation. That's why self-awareness is important. Instead of asking, what would everyone else do? Ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to become?
That's a beautiful question. It changes everything. Instead of thinking about what looks impressive, I start thinking about what feels meaningful.
Exactly. Imagine you're standing at a crossroads. One road looks exciting because everyone else is taking it. The other road feels quieter, but it matches your values. Sometimes the second road leads to a happier life.
I think social media makes this harder too. We see people traveling, starting businesses, learning languages, buying houses, and suddenly we feel like we're behind.
That's true, but remember, social media usually shows highlights, not ordinary days. Comparing your everyday life to someone else's best moments isn't fair.
That's something I need to remember more often. Can we talk about silly decisions for a minute? Because I have one. Every time I go grocery shopping when I'm hungry, I buy way too much food. Somehow I convince myself that I need 3 kinds of cookies, 2 bags of chips, and a giant chocolate bar.
That's actually backed by research. People who shop while hungry often buy more food because hunger changes how we think. Our brains become more focused on immediate rewards.
That explains a lot. I always blame myself, but maybe I should blame my empty stomach instead.
Well, maybe a little bit of both.
Fair enough. Another thing I do is stay up late watching just one more episode. Then suddenly it's 1 o'clock in the morning.
We've all negotiated with ourselves like that. Tomorrow I'll wake up early, but tonight doesn't count.
Exactly. My future self is always so responsible. My present self? Not always.
That's one of the funniest parts of being human. We often make decisions that make tomorrow harder because today's comfort feels more important.
Listeners, be honest. Have you ever said, I'll start on Monday? I think we've all made friends with Monday.
Monday has a lot of responsibilities.
I think confidence doesn't come before making decisions. It comes after making lots of decisions, even imperfect ones.
I completely agree. Confidence grows through experience. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Nobody feels confident before they begin. Confidence comes after trying, falling, getting back up, and practicing again.
That reminds me of learning English. At first, I was afraid to make mistakes while speaking, but every conversation helped me improve a little.
That's a perfect example for our listeners. Many English learners wait until they feel ready. But fluency comes from speaking, not from waiting.
I still make mistakes sometimes, and that's okay. Every mistake teaches me something new.
Exactly. Decisions work the same way. You learn by doing, not by thinking forever.
I recently read a quote that said, "You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step." I really like that idea.
Me too. Life often becomes clearer after we start moving.
Before we finish, I want to share one final story. A few years ago, I almost didn't join a community event because I felt nervous. I thought, what if I don't know anyone? What if it's awkward? But I decided to go anyway. I met wonderful people, learned new things, and had such a great time. Looking back, that simple decision gave me memories I'll never forget.
It's amazing how small moments can change our lives. Sometimes one conversation leads to a friendship. One book changes how we think. One class introduces us to a new hobby. We rarely know which decisions will become important until much later.
So maybe we shouldn't expect ourselves to predict the future perfectly.
Exactly. Instead of asking, will this decision guarantee success, maybe ask, will this help me grow? That's a much kinder question.
Growth is a better goal than perfection.
And remember, even wrong turns can teach us valuable lessons. Many successful people say their biggest mistakes became their greatest teachers.
So if you're listening today and you're worried about making a decision, here's a little encouragement. Take your time if it's important. Gather information. Listen to advice. But don't let fear keep you standing still forever.
Life keeps moving, and sometimes the best way to learn is simply to take the next step.
Before we say goodbye, let's quickly look at a few useful words we used today.
First, regret. Regret means feeling sad because you think you made the wrong choice. For example, I regret not calling my friends sooner.
Next is momentum. Momentum is the feeling of moving forward more easily after you've already started, like reading one page and then wanting to read 10 more.
Another word is overwhelm. If you feel overwhelmed, you feel like there is too much to think about or too much to do.
We also used the word confident. Being confident means believing in yourself, even if you don't know exactly what will happen.
And finally, growth. Growth isn't only about getting taller. It also means improving, learning, and becoming a better version of yourself.
Today's life lesson is simple. You don't need to make perfect decisions to build a wonderful life. Most of the time, thoughtful decisions, small daily actions, and the courage to keep learning are enough. Trust yourself a little more than you did yesterday, because every choice is another chance to grow.
Until next time, keep learning, keep practicing.
And keep exploring the world, one conversation at a time. Goodbye!